Hello and welcome to the Warcraft Academy guide to Siegecrafter Blackfuse. If you only want a summary of the fight, use the menu at the top to skip to the end, otherwise keep watching. This fight focuses around choosing what adds you want to deal with at any given point. On the left side of the room is a conveyor belt, and every 30 seconds 3 adds will spawn at one end of it and be carried across it. When they reach the end they become active and start using their abilities against the raid. You can use the tubes next to the conveyor belt to jump onto the platform, allowing you to kill one of the adds to prevent it becoming active, and therefore will only have to deal with 2 at once. There are 4 types of adds in total, and you can choose between 3 each wave. Missile turrets, when active, send rings that gradually spread out from a point, very similar to Lightning Storm on Protectors of the Endless or Engulfing Flames on Ragnaros. You can simply wait until a selection has been hit, and then you can safely move into it to avoid any damage. Laser turrets shoot a laser beam that fixates on random players and moves slowly towards them, lighting the ground on fire as it burns. The laser in the fire does damage and does fire damage over time that stacks up. This is just a case of kite the beam and don't stand in the fire. Electromagnets will create an effect similar to violent gale winds on Lei Shen and pull players slowly over to the right side of the room constantly over 30 seconds, dealing damage each second as well. It will also cause any saw blades in the room to be quickly pulled towards it. I'll explain what saw blades are later. Crawler mines will send several crawler mines onto the platform from the right side which fixate on random players. If they reach the player they detonate and do pretty high damage to the entire raid. You can stun, slow, snare and root these mobs and need to kill them quickly. They also become immune to CC after 1 minute, so you won't be able to just keep them crowd controlled. The mob you kill each time is up to you based on how well your raid handles each ability. Laser turrets and missile turrets are fairly trivial to handle as long as you're paying attention, so you can decide between the last 2. If you've got range that find it easy to kill crawler mines before they reach you, then disable the electromagnet as highest priority instead. On our first kill we focus crawler mines as highest priority and electromagnets as second priority. This means you never get crawler mines and rarely get electromagnets. Since you don't know what 3 mobs you'll get, you'll need to check what 3 mobs are coming out before you decide what to kill and then go on your highest priority target. It's perfectly fine to use a different priority if your raid is better at handling specific mechanics. You can only go onto the conveyor belt once every minute and new adds spawn every 30 seconds, so you will need 2 groups to alternate going up. On 10 man send 2 DPS per group and on 25 man send 5 DPS per group. Melees are best to send up since they can DPS easily whilst moving, and ranged are better kept on the platform to deal with any mines anyway. You will need 1 person from each group calling when their group needs to go up onto the platform to ensure you get there quickly. To get off the conveyor belt you can either jump into the tubes next to it or you can just jump straight onto the platform if you've got a speed boost. The boss himself will go into a protective frenzy whenever one of his creations are killed, so you'll just need to use a cooldown on your tank during this. He'll also throw saw blades that travel towards a random raid member, and they'll knock back and deal damage to anyone they pass through and then hover on the spot for the rest of the fight. Whenever an electromagnet is activated, any saw blades will be quickly pulled towards the right and damage anyone in their path, so never stand on the right of a saw blade. He'll use a debuff on your tanks called Electrostatic Charge. This does 250,000 nature damage to your tank and leaves a debuff that increases damage taken from this ability by 100%, but increasing damage dealt to automated shredders by 200%. Automated shredders are an add that spawn occasionally throughout the fight. They take 80% reduced damage from most sources, but tanks with stacks of electrostatic charge can kill them. They also take damage from saw blades, fire, shockwave missiles and electromagnets. They'll do an attack called Death from Above where they fly into the air and then slam back into the ground, so avoid the swirly texture when they do this. They'll also use Overload, which does damage to the entire raid and gives him a 30% damage buff which stacks every time he uses it. After a few overloads he's going to start hitting your tank extremely hard and eventually Overload will one-shot your raiders, so you will need to kill shredders pretty quickly and use cooldowns on your tanks if needed. In addition you have to tank shredders 35 yards away from Siegecrafter or he'll heal them back up very quickly, so you can only tank swap when one has died. One tank will start on Siegecrafter and get 3 stacks, and then the other tank will taunt off him. Then the tank with the stacks will pick up the first add, and when it dies and his debuff falls off they'll swap places again. Sometimes your tank will fail to kill it fast enough and he'll lose his electrostatic charge debuffs. If this happens, call for DPS to switch to it and be sure to tank it in some saw blades if they're far enough away from the boss. Failing to kill automated shredders quickly enough will be one of your main issues in this fight, so it really is down to the tanks to handle this properly. It doesn't really matter when you use Bloodlust in this fight, so just use it on the pull whilst you have all cooldowns available, although the group going onto the conveyor belt won't benefit from it since they need to go up immediately. So, to sum up, create 2 groups of 2 or 5 DPS, alternating going onto the conveyor belt every 30 seconds. Kill the ad that you struggle the most to deal with. As a default priority, kill crawler mines first and electromagnets if there are no crawler mines. Tank automated shredders 40 yards from the boss and tank swap after they die. Use stacks of electrostatic charge to kill them or tank them in other ground effects. Dodge saw blades, dodge fire on the ground, dodge the shockwave ripples. Don't be in the path of a saw blade during electromagnet crush. Kill, slow and snare crawler mines that spawn from the right side. Thank you very much for watching this guide, and if you have any comments or suggestions, please post them in the comment section below, and remember to visit warcraftacademy.com for all of our other guides for Siege of Orgrimmar. If you like this guide, please do subscribe, it really helps me out a lot, I really appreciate it. Thank you and catch you soon.